This week in TV streaming now, Amazon has a new show that is encroaching on some Netflix territory. We're going to talk about that. Paramount is joining the layoff party in a very crazy way. Also correcting things that I said about the From series, and then we also have an update on the From series. So let's get into it. Hello, nerds! This is the weekly TV news show. Not like the evening news with Tom Brokaw. No, nothing like that. This has more to do with TV shows, nerdy-oriented TV shows, as well as episodic content that you will find on streaming platforms. If this is your kind of thing, then you can check out the full episode that I like to call The Week in Nerddom, that covers all spectrum of pop culture and just generally nerdy things over on the main channel. You can find it linked down in the description or at the end of this video. All of that being said, let's talk about TV shows and nerdy stuff like that. All right, so TV follow-ups and corrections. I actually have a correction to make based on, it was actually the suggestion for watching the series From last week. I suggested it, I'm pretty sure it was last week, it might have been 2 weeks ago, suggested the series From because it is currently on Amazon Prime again. Its natural home is MGM Plus, but it is on Amazon Prime sporadically. Now is one of those times, and so go watch it. But the correction here is that there are not, in fact, 3 seasons of From yet. Only 2 seasons have actually aired. When I was seeing that there was a 3rd season, it was just the teaser trailer for Season 3. Season 3 will be out September 22nd, but we'll get to that. That is the correction. Let's talk about follow-ups. We have What If, the Disney Plus animated series, the anthology series of the What Ifs, just like the What If comic books, where it's like, you know, what if this thing was that thing in the Marvel Universe. Season 3 is going to be the end of the What If series. No big thing there. Let's just move on. Next up, we have One Piece. Season 2 production has begun. We have added to the cast, and I'm not a One Piece reader or watcher. I've never seen the anime, but it's on my list of things to watch. We have Ilya Isoraelis, I think is how that is said, as Paulinos Alvida. We have Michael Dorman as Gold Roger and Jeff Ward as Bucky. I don't know, or Buggy rather. It sounded like I said Bucky. I meant to say Buggy. Yeah, there's not a whole lot there aside from Season 2 is underway, so pretty exciting there. Next up, we have an even more exciting announcement. The Acolyte Season 2 is not actually happening. The Acolyte is now canceled. They're not going forward with it anymore. Yay! And the peasants rejoiced. That's what we got on that one. And then we have The Last of Us Season 2 has completed principal photography. So we are now in post-production. There is the off chance that we have to reshoot some pickups, whatever, you know, you have to do in post-production, and then the digital effects, and etc., etc., etc. So we are not completely there yet. Don't expect to get a release date announcement too soon, but soonish is a reasonable expectation. So that's what we got for follow-ups. Let's talk now about trailers. Speaking of From Season 3 trailer, linked down in the description. If you're not watching this series, this trailer will not make any sense to you. But if you are watching this series, this trailer will not make any sense to you. Seriously, what the hell is going on in this show? September 22nd is when From Season 3 hits the internets, and I hope it's still on Amazon Prime because I don't have MGM Plus, and I really want to watch Season 3 as it airs. So, there's that. And then our other trailer that has dropped, I think this might have actually dropped at Gamescom, but this is also the big tease that I put in the section intro as well as the main intro, and that is Secret Level. This is a new anthology series that is similar in scope, not the same, but similar in scope to the Love, Death, and Robots series over on Netflix. So similar, in fact, that some of the producers are the same producers from the Love, Death, and Robots series over on Netflix. It's not exactly the same, whereas the Love, Death, and Robots is more of an art-oriented, like kind of artsy is probably the way to put that, oriented kind of shorts, whereas this is going to be more gamer-focused. first. So slightly bigger win. There is no David Fincher attached here, so that's a sad piece because Fincher is cinema god, but still looks like it's going to be pretty fantastic. There are going to be games that are inspirations for these shorts. They are not actually shorts that live inside of these game worlds. They're not canon to the games, and I think from what I've been able to gather so far, there is not actually any proper correlation to the games in any way. So any resemblance is just the inspiration that they got from these games and not actually meant to imply some sort of correlation between the two things. So interesting, but go check out the trailer because it's pretty damn cool. That's what we got for trailers. Let's talk about some regular ass news for the week. We're starting in this one as, oh, this is a little not great. We have Paramount TV studios are closing down, which means thousands of people are losing jobs. This is not Paramount as a whole. Paramount did recently enter into a contract with Skydance, so those two companies are merging, but part of that merger is they are slimming things down. And part of slimming things down is focusing only on movies, and they're completely getting rid of the TV studios. I don't think that means that we're going to be missing out on Paramount Plus, the streaming service, which is where Yellowstone airs, and all of the other spin-off series for Yellowstone air, because that's doing fairly well, largely due to Yellowstone. But we are not going to have any Paramount Plus original series necessarily outside. I don't even know if Yellowstone counts as an original series or if it's just because they purchased it, because they're not actually putting up the studio to make it happen. So yeah, very, very interesting situation. This is more on the layoffs in the current streaming and the kind of tech universe right now. Is nobody can afford to stay open, at least not 100%. And again, this is just greed getting in the way of people's vision. Like, you can't see the forest for the trees if all you're seeing right now is all these people are locked in their houses and watching all of my things, which means all of these advertisers and all of the blah, 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 blah. We're selling so many subscriptions and this is never going to end. And then it did. And we've already had that conversation. We're going to move on. Next up, we have The Madison. Speaking of Yellowstone, this is the new sequel to Yellowstone. It has just been announced that Patrick J. Adams, who you'll recognize from the Suits series, has been cast along with Michelle Pfiffer and others for the new series. This one is going to be about a New York family that gets transplanted into Montana, and then they're dealing with things. This is the successor series to Yellowstone. So this is technically the sequel. So Taylor Sheridan has said that we're very likely going to see some familiar faces from the OG series proper in this new series. He hasn't said who or when or how or anything like that, and presumably they're not going to be like main characters, but cameos are a thing. And then our final piece of regular ass news for this episode is Pacific Rim. We're getting a prequel series for the Pacific Rim franchise. It is going to be produced by Legendary TV Studios, or Legendary Studios, I guess. And it's going to give us how the beginning of the Kaiju battles began, where the Kaiju come from, all of the things that kind of are just left up in the air for you to figure out on your own, or maybe make up your own headcanon backstory, whatever. Now they're going to give us the proper backstory. So, I don't know, I'm kind of mixed on how I feel about this, especially considering that the second Pacific Rim movie was, less than great. So, it is what it is at this point. We'll see what happens when it comes out. No announcement as to which streamer it is officially going to launch on, but we'll figure that out when it happens. Let's move right along, and that puts us into suggestions for TV streaming. Our suggestion, going a little scary this time. Suggestion this week is Channel Zero, specifically the first season of Channel Zero, called Candle Cove, because I feel like this is the most effective of all of the seasons. It's the easiest to follow, has the best twist at the end, just really, really well done. If you don't know, Channel Zero is the kind of live action adaptation of the Salad Fingers stories that were so popular on YouTube from years and years ago. But now this is just standing on its own. Like, the Salad Fingers is irrelevant because this is just really good, properly creepy, and a little scary television. So that is your suggestion for the week. Channel Zero, Candle Cove. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.